Serving up a warm dish of the Triad's culinary fare, here's your weekly helping of food, news, and views. This is the man who ate the town.
Hey folks, and welcome to episode 164 of the Man Who Ate the Town podcast. This is for the week of August the 10th through the 16th, 2020. My name is Tim Beeman.
My name's Tim. My name is Ray Morgan. I'm like, my name's Tim Beeman too. I don't know where I was going with that.
Well, then I'll be Tim Beeman 3.
All right.
Really?
Awesome.
Yay.
It's the Beeman Show.
So it means I ended up being my dad, Ray ended up being me, and Leah is now my son.
I am my own grandpa.
And we are opening the recipe box. We are recording this episode of The Man Who Ate the Town in my house. We are practicing social distancing using Zoom, sponsored by Bull's Tavern.
Thanks, Danielle.
Yes, thank you very much. Did you guys witness the earthquake?
Witness it. I experienced it. It was right in the middle of it.
Yeah, I was about to say, you're up
Actually,
there.
no.
You're in the mountains area, though. You're closer than we are to it.
It felt like an elephant had run through the house. Everything was just shaking. It's like, what in the world? And then it was like, oh, we're having an earthquake. Cool, let's enjoy the ride.
We were laying in bed, and we have these drawers on the bottom of the bed that, storage drawers, and they have those pulls. And so we both woke up to ding, 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 ding. I'm like, what is that? And she thought it was me because, I have Tourette syndrome. So she thought I was having either a seizure or one of my moments. And I said, no, it wasn't me. So, well, I'm glad
I thought somebody was running through the house. I mean, that same kind of shaking and the same kind of noise and rumble is like, what in the world? Yeah, it was weird.
They say that's the largest magnitude earthquake we've had in North Carolina since 1916. It was 5.1, and that one was 5.5, I think, in 1916. So, and they did say to expect some aftershocks.
Well, we'd already had two in the middle of the night at 2 o'clock in the morning that were like 2.6 on the Richter.
Okay.
So you don't feel those typically. Those are too small. But man, if this thing got up to a 6 or 7, ooh, Winston-Salem would have been, even if it were as far away as Sparta, Winston-Salem would have been in serious trouble.
Oh, yeah. They said that you could feel this as far south as Atlanta, as far north as Blacksburg, Virginia, as far west as Knoxville, and as far east as Durham. So you got it in a lot of places. So
yeah. I remember years ago when I was still a member of the Forsyth Gem and Mineral Club, after the huge earthquake hit Kobe, we had an earthquake expert come in, and he said, North Carolina is riddled with fault lines.
Oh, yeah.
Everywhere you got mountains, you got fault lines. And he says, we're past due.
Yeah.
And this was 25 years ago. He was saying, we are past due for a major quake on this side of the country in North Carolina.
Yeah.
So 25 years later, we had a 5.
Yeah. And that's where mountains come from. Mountains come from the plate smashing against each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't feel it, but probably because we were walking around at that time getting coffee and whatnot. But boy, I got on Facebook moments after and it was like ding, 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 ding. And I was like, there must have been an earthquake. But when I was a kid living in Idaho, we had a 7.3 one, and fronts of buildings collapsed in the streets, and
well, that's what this guy was saying.
Things. Yeah,
25 years ago, that Winston's not built to earthquake standards. It's not like we're California. We don't experience them that often. So one really good one, and it would just wipe the city out.
Yeah. So the one thing I learned is if you're ever in an earthquake and you're near a building, actually move away from the building as much as you can. Watching for cars, of course, if you're out in the street. But definitely
try to be in as open a space as you can.
Yep.
So nothing falls on you.
Yep. when I was a kid and that 7.3 happened, actually 2 of my classmates were crushed by a building. So it really brings home when something like that happens that you're like, oh yeah, don't be in front of an old brick building. Like move away. Don't stand there and watch it. Definitely move away from it.
Don't stand in the doorway. That's not a safer spot. Get away.
Right. In those old buildings, definitely not. So, But what a week last week between the hurricane, an earthquake, we got COVID.
Yeah.
Feel the earth move under my feet.
Well, somebody said, we get a hurricane, earthquake, and a tornado, I think, all in the same 2-day window. So, somebody said they had their bingo. Now. They didn't have earthquake on their bingo card.
Dang. That should have been right in the center.
Yeah. That's a free spot. Yeah. All right. Well, let's start this episode off with some sad news. On Thursday morning, Dana Moody of West End Coffee House announced that they would be permanently closing their doors at the end of this month.
Oh,
we watched them. I watched them buy Cafe Prada, make it into their own entity under the name West End Coffee House. They grew. They hit a wall because of the Business 40 situation. They started to bring themselves back after the Salem Parkway reopened. They struggled a little bit, but they made it work, and now they somehow succumbed to the COVID-19 pandemic. Jim and Dana are friends of mine, and I hate to see any businesses closed because of something that is out of their control. But I also hate to see it even more in friends when they have to close their dreams. Now, I have to believe that in some way, this is a relief to the Moody's. Struggling like they have been with something like this, it must ease their minds to have this burden off their shoulders. Plus, if they go ahead and move from this, then they can move on to the next project, whatever that may be. I don't know what that is, but even if they have to take a few deep breaths and reset, and it's a whole lot easier to move on to the next thing when you've had I guess you've closed the book on one book and put it back on the shelf, then you can open another book. The Moody's are resilient and intelligent folks, and I know that they will find their place one way or another. But the good news is you have West End Coffee House until the end of this month. So make sure you get by and visit them, see them, wish them luck, talk with them, buy some pies, all that stuff that you can do, or two.
Freeze one.
Yeah. So yeah, to Jim and Dana from us, you're in our hearts and our mind, and anything that you guys need, you can reach out. I think all of us, so it's not hard to find the help, and if you don't find it, call one of us and we will help you find that help.
Absolutely.
So, and it's been a great place, and I know they're going to land square again, and all will be good.
I was shocked to see on that on her post that it's been 7 years. I was like, I hadn't realized it had been that long, and I knew Alex and Ken from Cafe Prada. I actually helped them wheel in some of the displays in the first early days, and that whole row of down Broad Street right there was just supposed to get really, really built up because of the ballpark.
Yeah.
And it's just taken a whole lot longer than was ever meant to be. But I've had lots of great meetings in that space, and have certainly enjoyed the pie.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
She posts some of those pies, and I like get in my car and run down there because I know that it'll sell out.
Yeah.
And so I'm hopeful that, whatever she does, that she keeps making those pies, and they find a home for those, because wow, those pies are just good. There's a a peanut butter chocolate one that she makes. It's just
Well, you know, and the thing is,
it's just good.
knowing the restaurants like I do around here, I know one of the hardest things for restaurants to do is to get in-house desserts made, because that requires paying someone. Desserts are not something that you always sell, and you have to hire someone like that to come in, and you have to pay wages and Social Security and unemployment and all that stuff.
Supplies and ingredients that you've got to keep on hand.
Yeah, for something
Different-
you may or may not sell. I think she could find a niche, setting up a program with a couple of restaurants in town to start off with, and just constantly supply them with desserts.
Brittany was talking about doing something like that through the Humblebee.
Yeah, right before
I think-
hell
Before all
unleashed
this
itself upon us. Yeah, before the plague of locusts and frogs and all that stuff.
Earthquakes,
Yeah,
hurricanes, tornadoes.
yeah.
The locust is next. It's actually that's on schedule.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the locusts have been we've already been warned about them. So so yeah, we know they're coming. They're on a schedule. They penciled us in 17 years ago. Let's say right here.
They did.
17 years. That would be 2020. Nothing else should be going on that time, right? Oh crap! There's a pandemic.
We hadn't planned anything else for 2020. Let's just go ahead and put that in. And dang it, now we're having to go against a virus too. Okay, well, it'll be a twofer.
It's kind of taking
Make it a
our
threefer.
our thunder away. We're not the most talked about thing right now. So
Thunder.
Campus Gas is supposed to be reopening their unique pub on Polo starting today. They will be doing coffee service today and starting beer service tomorrow, and then food on Thursday. They're also working on a place to brew their own beer in Lexington. They are asking customers to adhere to distancing protocols and guidelines and help keep everyone around you when you're there as safe as possible. They will have...
What's the reasoning behind, okay, we're going to start with coffee.
Well,
the next day we'll offer beer. Well, you can't have beer the first day. You can just have coffee.
Well, I think
you can't have any of that with food until Thursday.
I think that it's more of getting all their lines back working. All the because they had all those taps. You know, they have 25 taps or so. So probably getting them reserviced and put in. And maybe they couldn't get them serviced until today, but I think they just wanted to get open. So. Yeah, I don't think it was so much their plan to stagger as much as it was that, well, we need to get open.
Yeah.
Because they haven't been.
If I'm going to Campus Gas, it's not, I think I just want coffee.
Well, but even that, they started at 6:30 this morning.
Oh, now 6:30 this morning, I do want coffee.
Yeah, because, I mean, the people passing by there for church and not church, but for work and stuff, because I know a lot of people, those churches down through there work there, and then Wake Forest and all that. So I think it was, okay, let's get this going. And is today not move-in day for Wake Forest?
Oh, I don't know.
Might very well be.
I know today's move-in day for App. So it may be move-in day for Wake Forest as well. So they may have wanted to push that too.
Yeah, since we don't actually have students at either location anymore.
Yeah.
We had one at Wake. He just graduated. We had one that was going to App, but now he's going to UNCC. So I missed the whole move-in day. Ours is like end of the month.
I had to notarize a power of attorney yesterday for one of my friends whose son moves to App today. So, yeah.
I didn't know that you were a notary.
I am. One of the many things that I do.
Many hidden talents of Tim Beeman.
That's right.
That's the next podcast. That'll take us years to go through everything.
I'm a Tim of all trades.
What else can Tim do? Here, hold his beer.
And a stamp.
And my stamp, yes.
And the stamp, yeah.
So Single Brothers was to open on Friday, and as far as I know, they did. I don't really know how they pulled that off, but they
That's a
said,
bar, right?
Yep, they said they checked with their lawyers and the ALE, and they were able to open by offering quote unquote bar snacks with pastries and sandwiches and things like that. I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, I'm glad as everything for Ben to find a way to open, because I wish a lot of the other bars could. But I hate that places have to find and circumvent loopholes. I don't know if it's helping or hurting, or how long before they have to shut down again, or before the whole thing has been for me either open or don't for everybody, but all alcohol places, but not counting bottle shops because they're just basically a store. But yeah, I don't really have an opinion about it. And I know that they're doing other stuff. The only time you can go inside is to the bathrooms, and they've actually got people that will come out, and there's going to be plenty of spacing, and everything's going to be outside. But when people get a lot of beverages in them, especially they see somebody they've not got to see in a while, because, we've all been stuck at home. There's Steve. I'm going to go over and say, Steve, how you doing, Steve?
Hey, buddy, give you a hug.
Yeah, give you a hug and breathe all over you, and you breathe and you lick in their face and whatever. But, it's just, I don't know.
It's
hope
the Scooby welcome.
Ruby Roo. Who's your best buddy, Scoob? But Ruby Rex. You'll do it for 2 Scooby snacks, Scoob? Yeah.
It doesn't take much to get him going.
No, it doesn't.
Wait,
Minor Q and Tim's go.
we interrupt the current messaging.
Somebody pushed a button.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo.
There's a blank button on this thing over here. Maybe that's what it's for. It's just set Tim off.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo?
Yeah, set Tim off.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope that all works out for Single Brothers, and I hope that other bars around town, if this is the direction we're going to be in for a bit.
I mean, what are you doing? Just putting a vending machine off in the corner with a bunch of peanut butter sandwiches in it and go, oh, see, I'm offering food now.
No, for them, I know that they've had, and I don't know what they constitute bar snacks, because they had mentioned that in one post, but not in the other.
Yeah.
But they just
Peanuts?
said that they had talked to, peanuts, but peanuts, I don't know. I don't know what's
that's not
counting.
food.
No.
That shouldn't be counted like, okay, now you're a restaurant because you put bar snacks out? I mean,
let's look at Bull's Tavern. Danielle has worked to put an actual pop-up kitchen in Bull's Tavern. So, but because of her licensing, she can't
they won't think
open
of
that.
her.
Yeah, she can't
that way.
even apply for that right now. So,
Where
But Single Brothers can. So I'm like, okay, there's what license are they holding that's so very different than
different, yeah.
well, one difference is Danielle's outdoor seating is a space enough for about 6 people.
I would say it's not much.
No, but
Of course, Single Brothers doesn't have a whole lot of outside space either,
No, I don't
unless
Well,
you count the parking lot next to it.
Well, they may, because they, if none of the other stores are open or whatever, they might be able to do that. Plus, that whole block, everybody's friends with everybody. So, hey, can we use this for something?
Right.
We're about to go under. Can we please use this so we can open? And they could be like, oh, yeah, go ahead. But, so I don't know all the details. I'm sure, because I'll talk to Danielle later this week, and I know all the bar people have a close-knit family, and they actually have like think tank meetings and things like that. So we'll see how this works out. I know, last week Danielle was very distraught. They announced on Wednesday that they weren't going to open bars until at least September 11th. And it's just, and that was when they said at least September 11th, what they meant was, we'll see when we get there, which chances are it still will be past that because people can't do what they're supposed to do. And, COVID is still running rampant, and the numbers are up, and we are one of the highest numbers. And so
numbers are up here too.
Yeah.
And personally, the virus really doesn't give a flying about your politics.
Right.
Put your damn mask on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I refuse
we
to
went-
live
Tired
in
of
fear.
walking through the store with people going, well, I'm a conservative and God said, shut the hell up. Put the damn mask on.
That's from a preacher.
That's from the
I
preacher.
know,
Put
right?
the damn mask on.
I feel like I should be like, I don't know what to say, like some Hare Krishna, Hail Mary. I don't.
Maybe I should put my mask on now.
Well, we are socially distanced. We're okay. We're physically distanced. We're not socially distanced. We're physically distanced.
We
I
went
have been saying it for a long time. Being a Christian, showing people that you love them and that you care about them means that you put the damn mask on.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. It's like if you just have the flu. Let's not talk about this awful. You got a normal, average variety of flu that runs around. Do you go to work with it? Do you go to school with it? Do you go to church with it? Do you go to the grocery store and cough all over people? No, you have some consideration because you don't want to give it to them. The people who are refusing to put the masks on are just being damn selfish.
Yep.
And they're not paying any attention to the people that they're getting sick. And it just makes me mad. It makes me very mad. So I'm going to shut up now.
Dear Lord, save me from your followers.
Amen. Amen.
Yes,
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Unfortunately,
Yes, sir.
most of us have an opinion of God based on his followers, and that's really just not who God is.
Right.
So,
Right. Yeah.
again, let's talk about food.
All right. Well, back to the news. This is the last thing that I have before I turn it over to Leah if she has anything on her list. Hops Burger Bar announced that all, and that's in all caps, locations are open for dine-in as 11 o'clock this morning. When I say all, again, in all caps, that means both because they only have two. Lawndale.
Hey, how many did?
Yeah.
Sounds like they have more than two.
But their Facebook page says all in all caps. But Lawndale in Greensboro and Renolda here in Winston, that's the two all. So
I still haven't been to the one in Winston since it opened.
been once.
Of course, I do live 45 minutes north of there, so it makes it a little more problematic to get there.
So true. So true. It's not something I would recommend you making a special trip for. It's not bad. I'm just saying special trip is some other place.
Maybe someplace like, I don't know, Yadkinville.
Yeah. Yes. Yes, if you're going to do that. Indeed.
Indeed.
So, Leah, what's going on the south side of the list?
Well, I was trying to think. Pulliams. I can't ever say their name right. The hot dog
Pulliams,
place.
yes.
Pulliams. They're back open after being on vacation. And then in the meantime, the only other one I have is Tanisha Monique Cupcakes has gone on vacation until the 21st. So, and then you shared with everybody about West End Coffee House and Single Brothers. I'm curious to see how it all works and how things happen. And I'm also glad that places are taking vacation and taking a break because people are getting burnt out by having to burn the candle on both ends. And at some point in time, the creativity kind of, you just need a break.
Right. And a lot of people are like, well, they've not been open. They don't need a vacation. Well, just because they're not physically open doesn't mean that they've not been working. I mean, they've been, how do we planning and how do we get around this? How do we keep our place open? How do we not lose all the employees we have? How can we pay our light bill? How can we pay our personal light bill? How can we pay our insurance? All this other stuff. It's not like they've been vacationing the whole time.
Right.
They're just sitting around eating bonbons all day.
Yeah, give me another bonbon there, Buffy. But
oh, thank you. Pass the flute of champagne, please.
I need to come over to y'all's place.
We got bonbons and champagne. Yes, it's really amazing. You should try it.
You should try it. Yes.
What? Do I have to eat it with my
your
fingers,
pinky?
my pinky
yes.
sticking out? Okay, just to make sure.
There's some other requirements, but we'll talk about those offline.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
Indeed.
Nice. And then the only other thing, which we'll hear from Miss Faith from the Sweet Truth here in a little bit, but
the Sweet Truth,
a little special guest, and
nice.
now I gotta go get me some cake. That's all I gotta say about that.
Well, there's always a good day for cake.
There is.
Yeah, it's those
Today
that
is
end
a
with
good day for cake.
The days that end with Y are the best days for cake.
Yes,
Amen.
and the days that end with day
Yes.
are also good for cake.
Mm-hmm.
Only two occasions good for cake. That's day and night.
I concur.
Yes.
And I kind of wish that Campus Gas, they say they're going to do the coffee. Well, have some cake with the coffee, because
Sweet Truth cake.
There's nothing better than a piece of cake with your morning coffee. I'm just saying.
That's good breakfast. It's breakfast of champions.
Yeah.
That is the
Big old slice of chocolate cake and big old cup of coffee. Yeah.
Ease into the day.
Yeah.
I'm thinking maybe it's time for more coffee and cake now, even though it's not morning. Now I'm thinking, cake.
Cake.
Let them eat cake.
All day.
Just like Marie Antoinette. All right, it's time for Getting in Your Business. And here is the owner of The Sweet Truth. This is Miss Faith McKnight. Welcome. I totally missed the applause. Hold on. There we go. So welcome to the Man Who Ate the Town, Miss Faith. How are you?
Thank you for having me. I'm doing well. I'm currently in the process of making 200 cake pops.
Woo!
Oh my.
200
A little
cake.
over 200.
Oh my goodness. What flavors are you going to be making?
Well, I'm going to do vanilla and chocolate, but I also have some like red velvets and some like confetti and regular vanilla. And then I have, I'm going to do, my daughter wanted me to try to do the strawberry crunch cake and the cake pops. I'm going to do the strawberry cake on the inside and then the crunch part on the outside of the chocolate.
Ooh.
So how do you do that?
I'll take some chocolate ones.
How do you do the crunch part?
The crunch part is cookies and dehydrated strawberries and butter.
Okay.
Or you could use like Jell-O too to give it that sugary kind of texture.
Sure.
Give it the crunch, and it will remind you of the Good Humor strawberry shortcake ice cream bar.
Okay. Awesome.
And that, I'll just tell you, fellas, that strawberry crunch cake, that's some good stuff right there.
That's right. So,
that sounds good.
So Leah has actually been to the Sweet Truth, right?
Right.
Yep.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
I might have to make it one of my stops. Excuse me, one of my stops this week to taste some wares. I enjoy doing that. So tell us about the Sweet Truth.
Okay, the Sweet Truth is it's a small time bakery, but it's a bakery that reminded me of my childhood because I'm originally from New York.
Okay.
So they have a lot of the neighborhood bake shops with the cake cases and a lot of Italian bakeries.
Yeah.
But they were all like family owned, and they would get up early in the morning and they would bake all of this fresh stuff, and then we would like lean our faces against the window looking at the pastries and stuff they had. So I just kind of wanted something to remind people of a neighborhood bakery, not like the big shops. You know, Dewey has turned into like a big corporation, put it that way.
Yeah.
But I just want something intimate. And, you know, you can come in and get a slice, because a lot of people wanted me to open up a shop because they didn't want to buy the whole cake.
Yeah.
So I opened up the shop last year just so people could come in and get a slice, because at first I was just doing to order. I bake everything from scratch. I make all my icing from scratch. So it's a lot of time put into the cakes.
And how long have you been open?
The shop has been open since September of 2019, but I've actually been in business since 2017. And the first place that I sold my cakes out of was Irie Rhythms Jamaican Restaurant.
Mhm.
We had that open, and I did all the cakes for her. And then she opened up the Rhythm, Georgine.
In the marketplace.
Right.
Yes.
And then after that, I started selling my cakes out of the Colony Urban Farm, West End Boulevard.
Yep.
And then just about when he was getting ready to close down was when I was getting ready to open up the shop. So it all kind of like flowed in together. Yeah. But now I'm looking to get a bigger place where I can do food as well, because I'm also a chef. I became a baker while I was in the military. But I also got my baking skills from my great-grandmother, because she had a bakery and a restaurant that she ran out of her house in Birmingham, Alabama.
Okay.
So my mother used to tell me that that's where I got my baking skills from. But I actually was the night baker while I was in the military.
How do they do a lot of baking in the military?
Yeah, I was the night baker.
Okay.
So I baked for everyone. I baked for the whole base. And I was by myself. And, you know, we didn't bake like the cakes that I bake now. We baked those big sheet cakes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I had to feed like 450 soldiers. So I had to bake enough, you know, for them to have a choice of a dessert every day.
Oh, that's just a little bit of bacon.
Crazy. So 200,
450.
200 little cake pops probably isn't as much as it used to be then when you were cooking in the military, is it?
Well, actually, the cake pops, I don't think they did cake pops back then.
Yeah.
80s. That's something new. And that's something I taught myself how to do. And I used different techniques, and I found the one that worked best for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, cake pops just started, and I got better with it. As I kept doing it, they say practice makes perfect. So, like when I first started, they looked kind of funny, but because I used to use the mold. You know how you bake them in the mold, but I didn't like the way they looked.
Yeah.
So I took a hand roll them. I put ice in, and I crumble the cake up, and I put ice in, and I roll them. So it's like a step thing with cake pops. It's very tedious, and they're delicate. You have to handle them delicate, but you have to be quick. So I'm going to get them done. This big contract with Arbor Acres.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
And they are
It's a good place to be working for.
Oh man, they are wearing me out. They said my cakes are selling like hot cakes over there.
You like hearing that, though.
I do. I really do. I have an older gentleman. His name was Mr. Ron Vincent. And he came in with his wife one day, and they stood around and they were tasting everything. So they bought a bunch of stuff up, and they took it over. I think they have, his wife has like a bridge club or something like that. She let everyone taste it, and she had an article from the Winston-Salem Journal that she brought in. And I asked her, could I have it? And because it was different than the one that I actually got in the newspaper. It was like in the little mailer that they get sent to the homes, and it had all the pretty pictures and everything in it. And I asked her, could I have it? She's like, well, I want the girls to see this article when they eat your cake. So I'll bring it back to you when I'm finished. I said, okay. She brought it back to me framed in a big gold frame.
Wow.
And I put it in the store, and I thought that was so thoughtful. And they bought a bunch of stuff and took it over to Arbor Acres. And Mr. Benson was like, you just got to use her. Oh, her cakes are delicious. And he likes my chess pies. He calls them meal pies.
Okay.
He's like 8 years old. I did his birthday cake. And he remembers his grandma's pies. And he said my chess pie reminded him of her pies. So that's how I got the contract with Arbor Acres.
Nice.
A lot of elderly folks that come in and get cakes because they say the cakes remind them of how people used to make cakes back in the day from scratch. I have a couple of cakes that I still make by hand. The hummingbird cake I make by hand.
Which cake?
A hummingbird cake.
Hummingbird. What is a hummingbird cake?
A hummingbird cake is really a North Carolina cake. It was from a recipe from a lady who was from Greensboro. And it has bananas, pineapples, and pecans, and no milk. There's no milk in it. It's just eggs and oil. And you have to beat it by hand because if you put it in the mixer, everything will get like mushy. Yeah. So you want to be able to see the pineapples. You want to be able to see the bananas in the cake. And it's kind of like a banana bread, but cake texture.
So you basically don't want to bruise it. You want it to just be. It's like when you're making things with ground beef and you grind it up too much with your hands and it becomes a mush instead of actually any texture to it. So yeah.
Carrot cake is the same way. You have to make that by hand.
So it's not mixing it as much as it's folding it in.
Right.
Loving it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And you can taste it. You can taste the difference.
Yes. So how much love would you say you put into your cakes? You put more love than most cakes or most people who do cakes or do you just pull back on some of the love? That's a trick question. I know you put a lot of love in that.
I got a reputation to uphold. So, if a cake, being a baker, you still make mistakes.
Yeah.
And sometimes cakes don't come out the way you want them to. The weather has something to do with it too. If it's very, very humid outside like it was this weekend, you're going to get some cakes that'll fall.
Yeah.
So I just want my cakes to be right when I give them to people. And if they're not right, I'm going to do it again. And if maybe if you're not satisfied with the cake, then I'll do it again for you. I'll try to,
make it right.
Make it right. And I've had FedEx damage some cakes for me recently that I had to stop shipping because I was shipping cakes out of state. But since COVID, they just handle stuff differently. They just throw stuff around and, they mushed up my stuff. And so I just put a hold on, delivering stuff out of state. But I have done that too. I had a cake order from India last month.
Wow. So not only out of state, out of country.
Well, yeah, she has a brother that lives here in Winston-Salem and in Brookstown. And I thought it was a scam at first.
Yeah, I can see why.
But then she paid for it, and so I was like, okay. But then it was just kind of an odd order because of the time difference. So I would talk to her in the daytime here, but I wouldn't get an answer from her till like 1, 2 o'clock in the morning. So we were behind in the communication. So at first she thought he didn't get the cake. I think I delivered the cake a couple of days early, but he was fine. It was a tiramisu cake.
Oh.
Oh.
She had told me that she had called him and he said he didn't get it. And when I called him, he said he did get it and he hadn't talked to his sister. So it was just a time, that we were talking to each other. But in the end, it worked out. He said it was the best cake he ever had. And that was a real challenge for me, but I did.
So how do you ship like that? Do you have to put it in like dry ice or something?
Oh, I didn't have to ship it. I delivered it here in Winston.
Oh, okay. But if you were delivering something,
I have this styrofoam packaging.
Okay.
I can get some of my cakes and pies in, and I also have like thermal wrap.
Okay.
Packs, and make sure that it's wrapped well and cushioned well, and hopefully they don't set something on top like they did with my other cakes. They set boxes on top of it, but most of the times that I did deliver, it got there. I even delivered a blackberry cobbler to Las Vegas, Nevada, to my cousin. Yeah.
Nice.
So.
That's impressive. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because they tend to move.
Yeah, and they did move because they set it like upright when it got there.
Oh.
But laid it back down and pushed the dough, and then he put it in the oven and baked it, and it was fine.
Okay.
But that was an experiment. I wanted to see if it would go that far. But I have delivered cake pops to Oregon, and cake pops are pretty shelf stable.
Mm-hmm.
Cake pops, so you could just throw those in a box and deliver them, anywhere.
Well, I don't want you to give any secrets away here, but I'm just trying to pick. How do you make a cake pop? Because isn't cake batter like just runny? So how do you get them to stay cohesive?
Because that's what I was saying, that cake pops are like steps. Like, people don't realize what it takes to make a cake pop.
Right.
So some people use a mold that bakes them.
Yeah.
And then they stick the stick in them. But I don't like those because they tend to be dry. So I bake a whole cake. I crumble it up. I put icing in it. I take a scoop and I roll them out. And then I let them get cold. And then I take the stick and I stick a hole with the chocolate. Then I let them get cold again. Then I pull a few out at a time, let them get room temp, and start dipping.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Very much so.
Steps. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That sounds like a ton of work, and it sounds like if I got one of those, it just wouldn't be enough. So I'm definitely going to stick to the slices of cake whenever I come over.
Well, the
I'm
cake
gonna
pops
have
are
some cake
enough.
pops.
Cake pops are enough in volume.
Yeah.
You don't eat one. You'd eat like a dozen. Or
Okay.
two.
I would need a bunch.
Oh,
Well,
one.
I don't think you need a dozen. Maybe.
Well, there's need and there's want, and
Well, we don't want you to get carried away, but my daughter actually, she likes to put them in the freezer and then eat them like while they're cold, like frozen. Said they taste so good like that.
My daughter does the same thing.
well, and you have to kind of in these days because you don't want to go out much. You have to ration just a little bit, and kind of stow it away or hide it for those moments when you really need one too. So
But I don't eat all of this stuff. I bake.
yeah,
Sometimes I taste it. I just want to taste it.
yeah.
But I don't really eat it like that. If I did, I'd probably be big as this room. But
Well, then we would really know it's really, really good.
Yeah. Don't try.
And if you
Don't.
need some testers, there's 3 of us right here that are volunteering. In a
Okay.
heartbeat, we'll come over and we'll test anything. We'll
I
try it.
have
Sure.
some extra cake pops, and I'll bring them down to the shop because I used to sell them out of the shop, but I just been so busy since I opened back up in June.
Yeah.
Because I closed for a few months. I closed like in the middle of April until June 19th. I opened up on Juneteenth, and it's just been like I've been on the go like ever since then, and it's just been picking up. And I had to hire 2 people, and I have an intern coming in from Johnson and Wales at the end of the month.
Wow.
And I'm going to be busy for the holidays because that's when I'm really busy anyway.
Where is your shop located?
My shop is located at 2723 Farmall Street, Farmall Street, and the cross streets of Indiana and 28th Street.
Okay.
And I also bottle my own drinks. I have a strawberry lemonade and a Caribbean sorrel. And I am certified to bottle my drinks out of the shared use kitchen over at the Enterprise.
Okay.
Talisa, I think y'all are going to have a podcast for the Enterprise kitchen, the shared use kitchen, the Enterprise. Not sure, but that's where I do my bottled drinks.
Okay. Is it Miss Faith? Is it Sweet Truth? What's the name brand on your bottled drink?
The Sweet Truth.
Sweet Truth. Okay. Keeping it all branded. I got you.
Yeah.
What are your hours for your store?
Okay, so right now, Mondays and Tuesdays are like my baking days.
Sure.
Most bakeries, that's how they flow. Wednesdays is kind of a slow day, so I was opening up from 12 to 6, but I might open up from 2 to 6 Wednesday, and then from 12 to 6 Thursday, Friday, and Saturdays, because those are my busiest days.
Right.
And towards the holidays, like Thanksgiving, Christmas, I'm going to open up a little bit on Sundays. The plan was to open up after church, but a lot of churches are not in session now.
Right.
So it made I had to change a lot of things to adjust to the way things were going. And I also am connected to the barber shop. There's a beauty shop, and then there's a health store. Or we're all like in this one row. But it was one time people could come in from the barber shop into my shop because I had 2 doors. Mm-hmm. But I had to stop that traffic so I can control the traffic in the store. So there's only one entrance now. You have to have a mask when you come in the store. And my space is very small, so I only allow 2 customers in at one time. But if you order something like a whole cake, or if you order like a bunch of cake pops and stuff, I'll deliver, or I have someone deliver.
Okay. Outside of the shop, how is the C-19 pandemic changed your business model?
I had to adjust my hours. I find that I'm getting more online orders and orders to be delivered than people just walking into the store, because I think a lot of people are still scared to come out. So especially my elderly customers, they'll come, but not as often as they used to. And then I had to change some of the things that I sell. Like I started doing things that are more outside friendly that I can do outside. Like I did fried apple pies last week over the weekend. I'm gonna do like some fried Oreos, like fair food.
Sure.
Because it's nice out. And people can just come up and get it and go. They don't have to come into the shop. But also that brings people into the shop, because when I'm doing stuff like that, they didn't know that there was a bakery there. So they just come in, I start talking to them, and they come in, they look around, and they end up buying something.
You may have answered this earlier, but how long has your shop been there, the actual physical shop?
1 year. It'll be one next month.
All right. So in essence, we're celebrating.
We are.
Awesome.
I'm going to have like something going on next month.
Will you keep us informed so we can help promote that for you?
Mm-hmm. I will. I sure will.
Yeah, you have Leah's information, and I'm not hard to find. If you just send one of us like an email or something with all the stuff that's going on, we'll talk about it on the podcast. I can write a blog post about it. So yeah, just anything that we can do to help you, absolutely let us know, because I like to talk about food, and people seem to like to hear me talk about food. So I want to do what I can to make people know about the sweet truth.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Well, and so tell
I
us.
feel honored that y'all wanted me on the show.
Well, you're doing good work.
Yeah. Well,
And we're honored to have you on the show.
Thank
for
you.
sure. And it was the 3 cakes, the slices that I got were delicious, and you could definitely tell they were made with some love. And it was just some good stuff that I got to come and brag to the fellows about how good it was.
Yeah, she
You
did.
didn't save them any?
No, she doesn't. Leah doesn't share her cake.
Share?
I don't think Mel got any cake.
No, she didn't get any cake either. That was mine.
Leah will share her love and her affection, but step back from the cake.
No cake for you.
No
You will
cake.
draw back a nub.
But tell us, is it best to reach out to you to order on your Facebook page? And then what is your Facebook page and your website? Like, where do you prefer getting orders and such?
Well, the website my website is through Vistaprint, but I'm getting another website built for me. Someone offered to build me a website for free.
Good.
And they're going to make it where they can order online, where they don't have to send me a contact form and then I have to go back and talk to them. But people can call the store. The store phone number is 336-986-9040. You can leave a voicemail. And whenever we come into the store, we'll listen to the messages and we'll get back to you. With cake orders, I usually take my orders for next week, this week. So any orders I have is 7 days advance because I have to bake for the store and I have to bake for the orders that I have. And I only have a few order slots a week now. So until I get my intern in, then I will be able to do more orders. But I try to accommodate people if I just can't do last minute. I have people call me all the time for last minute. If I don't have anything, I'll do it. Most of the time I'm booked. So,
That's a good place to be.
right.
Yeah.
Do you have people calling you before they come to the shop to make sure you have something that they're looking for?
Yeah, there's a lady that buys the pineapple coconut every week. So there's some cakes that don't stay in the store long, like that strawberry crunch cake, that goes fast.
Sure.
And the banana pudding cake goes fast. Pineapple coconut cake goes fast. So, and when I do pies, sweet potato pies go fast. Pound cake.
What's your
I have a lot of things.
What's your favorite thing of the things that you make? If you were having one of your things right now, what would it be? Not necessarily what's in front of you, but if you had your choice of all the things that you make, what would be the thing right now that you would go grab? I know you say you don't eat a lot of this, but if you did.
I like the red velvet cake.
Red velvet's my favorite cake, by the way.
Well, a lot of people in North Carolina like red velvet cake because it goes with barbecue.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In North Carolina is a barbecue state, so when I get a lot of orders for red velvet, and they like my red velvet because it's red. And I don't know what that means, but they said a lot of the cakes are not red; they're like a burgundy,
Yeah.
brownish, but mine is actually red. So
Is
I
it
find the red velvet cake goes really well with a fork.
red velvet cake goes very well with my mouth?
Gold. Yeah, that too. There's got to be some way to get Tim to stop talking, and red velvet cake works.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe I'm going to make some red velvet this week. Maybe y'all stop by the shop and get some red velvet.
All right. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So I got to get one more shout out to the Small Business Center at Forsyth Tech.
Alan Younger.
I was in that first launch challenge.
Oh, cool.
17, and I won second place. So they gave me $15,000. Wow. I started the bakery.
Yeah.
My equipment. And I just kept going from there. And then during the pandemic, I got a grant from them, from Wells Fargo. And I also got a grant from the greater Winston-Salem. Wasn't really a lot. It wasn't like big, but it was something to help
a little
me.
bit helps.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like you're going to turn it down.
Right. So it did help me catch up my bills and stuff like that. And I really appreciate that that they did that for me, City of Winston-Salem, small business.
And I have to say,
continue to be impressed with Small Business Center and Alan Younger.
Alan
the work
Younger
that
is-
they've been doing that
yeah.
is awesome. I mean, you look at all of the businesses that he's helped get launched here in town, and just hats off to Alan. Great guy, just a super guy.
Prior to the pandemic, I host another podcast called The Less Desirables, and he would always bring the finalists right before the actual winners were announced. He would bring the finalists onto that show, and we'd talk with each one of them like we're doing here, and learn more about their businesses and things. And actually, we were scheduled for April the 11th or whatever the closest Wednesday was to that. And obviously we had to cancel that, but still don't know when we'll be able to get to where we can fit, 9-10 people into that little room that we were in. So,
Right.
But I love everything that Alan does, and he takes care of the businesses he's in. One of my work wives on that podcast, The Less Desirables, was actually in the launch challenge. Not this one, but the one before. It's just, I just love what they're doing for small businesses. Like you said, they take care of the little people.
Yeah.
Yes. Nell Perry is she works there under Alan, and any grant that comes out, she's emailing it to me, and those are a couple of them that I got, so they're always trying to help, you with your business. And she's helped me find people to work for me. She's a great customer. She comes to the store, and her family comes to the store. So, the Small Business Center has helped me a lot. And also the Enterprise Shared Use Kitchen has helped me a lot with getting grants and stuff like that. So I'm just going to keep going as long as I can. Have a birthday coming up next month.
Are you going to make your own cake?
Well, actually, I'm going to make because my grandson was born 7 days after me. So he already told me what kind of cupcakes he wanted. He just likes the icing. He just licks the icing off. So, his mother gets mad if I sneak him another one. But yeah, he just licks the icing, and then he has a sugar rush, and then he's all over the place. So
Nice.
It's grandma's prerogative, right?
Yeah.
You got him hyped up on sugar. He's yours now.
He said, I like your cake. He said, Grandma's famous. He always says that Grandma's famous. Because I never get a chance to give him like I used to, because I'm always baking cakes, and every time he calls, what are you doing, Grandma? It's baking day. It's baking day. It's baking day at Grandma's.
Well, now you can tell him you were on a radio show, or a sort of a radio show, and you're now even more famous.
Okay, I will.
So, Miss Faith, anything else you want the listeners to know before we close down the conversation? Anything that we haven't covered that you want to make known? This is your time.
I just want everyone to come out and visit the shop. It's a little intimate shop in purple and gold and glitter. Just come out and see what we have, because every week I change. different things. I don't have the same thing in the shop, and I try to stay with the seasons. So I got some good stuff coming up soon. So I'll keep you posted
Please
and
do.
come out.
And one more time, the address and the Facebook and whatever else you want us to know about that.
Okay. The Facebook is The Sweet Truth Bakery. It'll just come up. If you do The Sweet Truth, it'll come up. And my Instagram is the lowercase underscore sweet underscore truth 1. That's my Instagram. And my daughter is my marketing person, so she is always posting stuff. A lot of people think it's me, and she'll answer them and everything like it's me, but she's my marketing person. That's what she went to school for, so she can do that for me.
Awesome.
And you're in the same building with New Generation Barbershop?
Yep. Mr. Robert Russo.
All right. Well, Miss Faith, thank you so much for being here and sharing info about your fantastic bakery and you, because you are such a sweet person, and that's the sweet truth. And we really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.
Very much.
Thank you. And indulge your sweet tooth at the truth.
I love it. I love it.
Definitely.
Well, thank you so
All
much.
right. Well, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
God bless you.
Thank you. You too.
Thanks.
Once again, thank you to Miss Faith from The Sweet Truth for stopping by and talking with us today before she had to get back to her baking duties, making the magic that she makes so well. Go see her again. Look her up, The Sweet Truth, on Facebook. You'll find all of her information there. Let's do
What a
some.
privilege to have her on here. That was just really cool.
It certainly was.
Such a neat lady.
Thank you, Leah, for setting that up.
Yeah.
Yes. Next time, have her set it up where we all get cake.
I know, right? If we can just get out of COVID, we can have some cake.
Where are you,
Yeah,
damn
'cause she's not
mask?
shipping it to us anymore. We're going to have to go get it.
We gotta go get it.
Yeah.
It's worth the trip. It's totally worth the trip.
All right. So, food holidays. Today is the 10th of August. It is National S'mores Day.
I'll take some more of that.
Well, see, it's like I've said every time that we've talked about s'mores, I like all the components of s'mores. I just don't like s'mores. Because I don't
You like
like
marshmallows, you like chocolate, you like graham crackers.
I don't like my marshmallows roasted. I like them raw.
So you've never tried to see how many layers you can get off of one marshmallow.
Nope. Certainly not. Just not going to happen.
And now I know what's wrong with you.
Just one of the things.
You non-marshmallow roaster, you.
I'll be outside of your house later today with my protest sign against you.
With our little flaming marshmallows on a
And your
stick.
marshmallow on a stick. I can't believe you don't like roasted marshmallows.
On a steak.
On a stick.
On jeffifydunham.com. On the 10th,
Those guys.
on the 10th in 1833. So today, I don't know, my math sucks, so I'm not going to even try it. Today, Chicago is celebrating its anniversary of being incorporated as a village. In 1833, the population was about 200, and now it's the third largest city in the country.
It's come a long way since then.
Yes, it is. On the 10th in 1889, Dan Rylands patented a screw cap for bottles. He was employed at Hope Glass Works in Barnsley, Yorkshire, England. In 1897 in Germany, Dr. Felix Hoffmann created the first chemically pure form of, let me see if I can mess this up, acetylic salicylic. Anyway, he made aspirin.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Had you
We
just
needed
said
that.
that?
Acidic salicylic acid. Aspirin. Yes.
Aspirin.
Aspirin.
Easy to say.
Yes.
Aspirin.
That's why he called it aspirin, I'm sure. Anyway, so today is the 100 and many years anniversary of aspirin. 32?
I mean, such a simple medicine, and yet
32, yeah.
So useful.
Yeah. 127 years. That's it. 22 years. Something. I hate math. In 1920, Vermont Maple Syrup Company registered Vermont Made trademark. It was a blend of cane and maple syrup. On the 11th, it's National Raspberry Bombe Day. A B-O-M-B-E, bombe glacée, or simply a bombe in English, is an ice cream dessert frozen in a spherical mold so as to resemble a cannonball, hence the name ice cream bomb. Bombe.
Like a little bomb.
In 1874, Harry S. Parmalee of New Haven, Connecticut, patented the sprinkler head.
Okay.
Yeah. In 18...
I'm sorry, I'm still hearing Prince in the back of my mind going, Mommy, why's everybody got a bomb?
Yeah. Don't worry. I won't hurt you. In 1896, Harvey Hubble of Bridgeport, Connecticut, received a patent for an on-off pull-chain electric light socket for incandescent lamps. The design is still popular today. It's the ones you usually find in somebody's closet.
Right.
Yep.
Ching.
In 1903, on the 11th, Satoru Kato of Chicago was issued the first U.S. patent for instant coffee, coffee concentrate, and process of making the same. The patent application was filed in 1901 when his Cato Coffee Company introduced the product at the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo.
And generally, it's good when you're using it as an ingredient, but not when you're using it as coffee.
Yeah, it's not. I don't.
Brewed is so much better.
In 1953, Dorothy Finer Rogers of New York, New York, received a patent for a cleaning swab for toilet bowls and the like, an improved Johnny Mop with a disposable cleaning pad. So I've never heard it called a Johnny Mop before. Jonny.
No. I mean, it makes sense. It's the John.
Yeah.
So it's the Johnny Mop.
Yeah.
No, I never heard it called that.
In 1992, I thought this was older than this, but in 1992, the Mall of America opened in Bloomington, Minnesota. It was and is still the largest shopping mall in the United States.
I'm curious as what their occupancy rate is now.
Yeah.
Because malls,
Oh, yeah.
Actually, I was reading something earlier today that Amazon is considering taking some of those old anchor spots in malls around the country and turning those into distribution centers. Taking the old Sears and J.C. Penney spots that have been abandoned.
Yeah.
Distribution. I'm like, you know what? That's smart because the malls are generally centrally located, easy to get in and out, and it's a lot of freaking space.
Pickup locations, too. I mean, they can keep stuff there warehouse-like. Especially Sears, that's how they got their big break, was being basically a catalog mail order company. And if you can do that with Amazon and go by and pick it up, at price save. And I know you have Prime and you don't usually pay for shipping, but you can always do it there, and it could be part of your Prime membership as well. On the 12th, it's National Toasted Almond Bar Day. It's National Julienne Fries Day, which is basically really thin French fries.
Like she
makes thousands of Julienne fries.
Yeah. Yes. In 1851, Isaac M. Singer of New York City received a patent for the first sewing machine with a rocking treadle. Sewing machines had already been patented, but Singer's machine was revolutionary, having a rocking treadle design, continuous feed, and a straight vertical needle like modern machines. So it's basically the modern.
If your treadle is rocking, you probably need to see your doctor.
Dr. Singer.
They don't come a knocking. I mean,
The treadle
if this treadle's rocking, don't come knocking.
In 1913, on the 12th, the National Biscuit Company, or Nabisco as we know it, registered the Oreo trademark, which was introduced 1 year earlier. In 1930,
It's the food of the gods right there.
many of them. In 1930, Clarence Birdseye received a patent for a method to prepare food products by quick freezing them, and that is the same Birdseye from Birdseye Foods.
Well, that
In-
makes sense.
Yep. In 1981, IBM introduced a personal computer, the PC, and PC DOS 1.0. So that's, we couldn't get along now without computers. And that was the introduction of it in 1981.
Yep. I remember 84, actually 83 was the year our high school got computers for the first time. And my senior year of high school, I got to take a computer class, and it was all DOS based.
Oh, yeah.
You couldn't do much
Nope.
compared to today.
I had a friend who, they had Apple,
Yeah.
Apple IIs, and about the same time. And they could make like some graphic things. So one had like the MASH 4077 thing that would like build. Like, oh, that's great. What good does that do? I had a Texas Instruments handy something, and I could run something enough that it would do the KISS logo. And
cool.
Flash and stuff. So that was,
I had one of the guys in the class showed me how to program it in DOS, that if you touched any key, this phrase would come up and says, you've entered a wrong passcode, mess with it again, and we'll lock you out. And so they'd touch it again, and it would prompt the next time, and the screen would just go black, and it would stay black for like an hour. And then the timer would go off, and then it'd go right back to the DOS prompt. But it was so much fun to put this on a computer and then walk away and let one of the freshmen come up and start playing with it. Go, oh man, I broke it! Oh crap! Oh crap! Teacher! And we're all just going, dude, you've been pranked.
well,
It was fun.
this is a little bit later down the line, but I was actually one time I took a class for Novell to be the administrator of the company network. And you could set, because people would have to log in to get into the network, you could set it to where it would monitor the clock, and it would be based off a regular clock. And somebody would come in, they would try to go on and like scam the clock and say they were there early. If it was like you were supposed to be at work at 9, if it was 9:01, whenever you clicked anything and logged in, even if you were trying to do the time different, it would send a message to your supervisor. It says, "Hi, I'm Ray. I'm late today." But see, I work for my parents, so I couldn't do that. So
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah, I know, I was late. What are you going to do about it?
yeah,
I'm going to
not a
send you to
thing.
remember that supper.
Not a thing. Not a thing. 8/13. It's National Filet Mignon Day.
Ooh.
O. Henry, whose pen name was the pen name of William Sidney Porter, was the first to use the term filet mignon in his book The 4 Million in 1906. It is a French derivative. It means small or dainty fillet. Fillet or fillet. Fillet equals boneless meat, and mignon means small or dainty. So that's where the name comes from.
Interesting.
In 1913, true stainless steel was cast for the first time in Sheffield, England. Harry Brearley of Thomas Firth and Sons discovered how to make the steel that does not rust. It revolutionized the culinary industry. In 1957, Noda Shoyu Company Limited registered the Kikkoman trademark for soy sauce, first used in 1885. So here we are, 70 years later, at the time, registering
it's a
it.
little more.
I'm talking
Oh,
about.
you're talking about the time from when it started to when they registered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that's more.
Hey, it's more than 70 years since then. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no.
My mistake.
Yeah. So they used it in 1885 and then registered it in 1957. But I noticed the Shoyu company for West End Poke, one of the sauces you can get is shoyu, citrus shoyu sauce. So that's basically citrus soy sauce. But they do use low sodium. It's just not as low as I would like it to be. But they do use at least low sodium soy sauce there. On the 14th, it's National Creamsicle Day.
That sounds good.
I like creamsicles. I like the colors of the creamsicles. I wish the Tampa Bay Buccaneers still had those colors in their uniforms.
Orange and white.
Yep, I loved it. On the 14th in 1765, a crowd in Boston gathered under a large elm tree to protest the Stamp Act passed by the British Parliament. The act imposed a tax on all paper items in the American colonies by requiring a special stamp. The Liberty Tree became a rallying point for resistance to British rule over the American colonies. I love Boston.
The University of Tennessee has orange and white as their colors.
That's true. They do.
So you could root for that team and be able to root for the orange and white. Just saying.
Yeah, I guess.
Trying to convert.
I guess you're right, but I just can't stand Tennessee.
Details.
Yeah.
Oh man, that hurt. Oh man,
I am mostly kidding. In 1873, on the 14th, the first issue of Field and Stream was published.
Ooh.
In 1888, Oliver B. Schallenberger of Rochester, Pennsylvania, received a patent for the electric meter to measure the amount of electricity used. It's come a long way since then. In 1897, a record sturgeon was caught. It was 1,387 pounds.
Sir, he would stop talking.
Oh,
Now he's back.
now he's back.
What happened?
What
You were on
happened
mute.
was,
I was on mute?
well, we couldn't hear you.
Oh.
We don't.
I wonder if
know
somebody
who
was
couldn't
trying to
hear you.
call in or something, but I have my phone on Do Not Disturb, so I don't know what the thing was. It still recorded me. A record
Dude, we were having this fun little conversation. Dang.
a record sturgeon was caught 1,387 pounds in the Fraser River. That's a lot
big
of
fish.
That's a big fish and a lot of caviar. On the 15th, it's National Honeybee Day. It's also National Lemon Meringue Pie Day. I like, of course, I like honey and the bees that bring them. I am bee man after all. And National Lemon Meringue. Yes. Where's that?
That sounds better.
Yeah, National Lemon Meringue Pie. I love lemon meringue pie. I like lemon just about everything, so that helps. In 1835, C.H. Farnham was issued a patent for a hand-cranked rotary washing machine.
Interesting.
Farnham.
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 That's the distant cousin of the Barnums.
Yes.
Couldn't make it in the circus world. He kind of washed out.
Yeah, he did he stayed
Ended
away
up
from the
making-
3 rings and just did the washing ring.
Yeah.
In 1848, on the 15th, M. Waldo Handchet patented a dental chair. In
Are we
1911,
happy about that?
Oh no! I'm like, that's cool, but maybe not.
yeah,
Did you know that the dentist
highest
ranked
rate of
just below
suicide.
IRS agents as far as professions that we love? As a society, we hate our dentists, and yet we so desperately need them.
Yes, and dentists have the highest rate of suicide rates.
Whoa.
Yeah.
You wouldn't think. But, when all you're doing is looking in the back of people's mouths all day long, I mean, that scenery is really not all that attractive.
We have a friend, Ray, a mutual friend that used to be a dental hygienist.
Yes, we do.
And I'm like, there is no way. I cannot stand to look in people's mouths when there's anything in there. and to get in there with like mirrors and things and actually flicking things out of people's teeth. No, I don't want to do that.
Yeah. Plus whatever smell is coming out.
Yes.
Right.
Oh God. In 1911, on the 15th, Crisco was introduced by Procter & Gamble. Crisco is a hydrogenated shortening made from vegetable oil, which keeps its solid form even in warm weather. Like, you know, when I think of Crisco, I think of Loretta Lynn and her fried chicken because of that commercial. My family
that
likes.
takes us back.
My family
it's been a while
likes
since
this
they've used Loretta.
That's true. It's true. But
Do you have Crisco in your cabinets right now?
I do not. I might have some Crisco oil, but I do not have Crisco shortening. Do you? You do?
I do.
I don't know that
I'm
I've
gonna
ever
say-
used it.
I don't use it much, but recently I had gotten some corn tortillas, so I picked up some Crisco to go with it, and fry those up myself with my own seasoning on them. They're really good.
I'm going to take your word for that.
I was like,
I have proof. I
What?
have two other people who can prove that they will testify that they too ate the homemade corn tortilla.
okay.
If you want to do it tostada style, where it's flat as opposed to taco style, and the corn tortillas that I bought were uncooked, so they really need a little bit.
I'm not a fan of the tostada. I like the taco stuff better. I don't like having being forced to either cut through it with a knife or try to pick it up and eat it sideways. I just never have understood that. But some people like it, and I know they sell a lot of it at Mexican restaurants. So good for you, man.
Yeah, it was good.
In 1914, the Panama Canal was officially opened on the 15th when a ship sailed from the Atlantic to the Pacific Ocean. Due to minor problems, cleanup operations in World War I, a grand celebration was delayed until 6 years later, on July 12th, 1920. In 1969, on the 15th, the 3-day Woodstock Music and Arts Fair began on a dairy farm in upstate New York. And live music was never the same again.
Yeah.
And the only thing I have for the 16th is it's National Bratwurst Day.
Yeah, bratwurst.
Bratwurst.
breakfast? Yes, we like it on the grill.
And you can have it with rum because it's rum day too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brats and rum.
Yeah. You usually brought some beer, but rum's good too.
Yeah, I will not argue with that.
Drink them if you got them.
Well,
All right, well, I'll see.
that's your that's your food holidays and history for this week. Special thanks to James Ziegler at foodreference.com for making us chuckle, roll our eyes, question, raise cooking methods, and
Consistently,
yeah,
yes.
consistently, and that's just thank you, James, for all that.
Thanks, James.
The Man Who Ate the Town podcast is part of the Less Desirables podcast network. Along with this podcast, you can listen to Less Desirables, The Beer Dad's, Fan Interference, Department 5B, Bees, Weiss, Vinyl and More, Sipping NC, Wheeler's Dog, and Asylum Tales of the Devereaux Diary podcast. You can find all these podcasts and their latest episodes on our network directory and website, tldpodnetwork.com. You'll also find social media links to each one right there as well. We'd greatly appreciate if you visited our sponsors, like Carrabba's Italian Grill, located 587 South Stratford Road. This is no chain. This is a responsible family of restaurants. Carrabba's and their owner partners take the communities that they serve very seriously, and for us, having a fantastic franchisee like Daniel certainly does not suck. Daniel is working on the table that will go in the Less Desirable studio. I actually was with him on Thursday as I ran the wood through the planer that he is working on to make the table. Also, when last Sunday on our way back from Boone, he told us that he is going to start up wine dinners again in the next little bit.
Nice.
So we will learn more about those so I can promote it to the listeners so that they know how to go to the wine dinners again.
And it will be do those again.
Yeah, and it's going to be physically distanced, and one he said will be a mystery wine dinner.
Oh,
And he tried to explain that to me, but I was trying to eat, so okay. So we'll have him on to tell us more about that when the time comes.
like I'm only half listening to you because I'm eating.
Yeah,
Come on.
I'm having the Johnny. Thank you very much.
See that right there.
Yeah.
That explains it.
So follow
That's going to
Carrabba's.
capture your entire attention.
Yeah, so you may be able to find more on Carrabba's website, carrabbas.com, or on social media. But keep an eye out for that and listen here for more. Washington Burke and Provision Company is located at 301 West 4th Street, and you find a little bit of everything at the Perk, a chip corner, a deli to get your sandwich on the go, local fruits and veggies, meats and dairies from local sources, bingo, bango sodas, Wolfie's custard, a wall of beer and wine, and more. Washington Perk is better than the convenience store, not quite a grocery store. On Facebook, they are Washington Perk, or at Washington Perk _DTWS on Instagram. The Humblebee shop is located at 1003 Brookstown Avenue in the west end of downtown. You've not had good until you've tasted the treats and goodies that Brittany is whipping up in her shop, be it muffins, cakes, macarons, and more. Many things vegan and gluten-free if that's what you need or want. The Humblebee shop wants to challenge your perception of scratch made and leave you with an experience you couldn't possibly forget. For more information, follow them on Facebook and Instagram, or visit thehumblebeeshop.co.
That's SHOPPE.co.
And I want to bring this up real quick, too. I am also the host of the podcast Eat, Drink, Triad. So if you go to eatdrinktriadpodcast.com, you can, as part of the Triad Food and Beverage Coalition, we had Algin on a few weeks back talk about the coalition. And so I have resumed the podcast hosting for that. And we had this past week, we had Alex Hollowell and Chef Chop from Spruce Street Garden and Craft Tavern. And it was a really good interview. And so give it a listen, eatdrinktriadpodcast.com, or you can find it on iTunes and Stitcher and anywhere else you get your podcasts, Spotify, all that stuff. This is a reminder to all the listeners, and just good practice, not just now, but for always. Wash your damn hands. Wash them with warm water and soap. Wash with that soap for 20 seconds or more. Sing How About Never Gonna Give You Up from Rick Astley. Never gonna give you up. Nothing like being rickrolled while you're washing your hands.
Okay.
When the
Can I
strangers
come up
to
with a different
love. You
How
may.
about the Scooby Doo theme song?
Scooby Dooby Doo,
That's
where are you?
Yes.
We got some work to do now. Yeah, that would be much better. I'd prefer Scooby Doo. I'm going with Leah to do Scooby Doo. You go do that Rick thing.
I like that song, and I have always liked that song. Yeah.
Okay.
So you know one thing I'm never going to do? I'm never going to give you up. I'm never going to let you down. I'm never going to run around.
You're not going to run around and hurt me?
Or desert you.
Wait, unless it is some good dessert, then you.
That's right.
Yeah. Dessert's involved, then all bets are off. Yeah. I am going to let you down. I'm going to leave you alone. I'm going to go get the dessert.
Go get the cake.
Oh, by the way, I've cleaned my hands now.
Well, keep an eye on the blog and this podcast to find out more about the food news and happenings around town. If you have any food news, if you are in the restaurant business, or you know something that we're not talking about or haven't heard here, send us an email. That's Tim or Leah or Ray at themanowaittotown.com. You can also contact us on Facebook Instant Messenger, Instagram, or Twitter Instant Messengers. Like us on Facebook. On Twitter, we are Man Who Number 8 the Town. On Instagram, we are Man Who Ate the Town. And now we invite you to call and leave a voicemail for the podcast or any other podcast on the TLD network. you can call 336-422-6862. That's right, 336-422 NUM. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play on the air. Again, 336-422-NUM 6862. Well, thank you again to Miss Faith from The Sweet Truth for being here with us. Thank you to Ray and Leah for zooming in with me and bringing some entertainment and food information to you. My name is Tim.
My name is Ray.
And I'm Leah.
And we are closing the recipe box. Until next time, thank you for reading. Thank you for listening. Bon appetit. Yamas. The views and opinions stated by me or any of my guests are solely those of ours and do not necessarily reflect the opinions of our hosting companies, distributors, enemies, friends, or relatives. This podcast is copyrighted and cannot be reproduced or distributed without express written consent of the man who ate the town, that's me, and Such Limited Inc. However, if you ask nicely, we'll probably let you.